How to take BPC-157 and TB-500. At East West Health, we've helped over 60,000 clients regain their health independence, and a large part of that is due to the benefits of using BPC-157 and TB-500. And in this video, what I'm going to do is show you how to stack these peptides together effectively. I'm going to show you how not to stack them and when you wouldn't want to use them. And I'll also show a case study where someone just like you wants better energy, he wanted to recover from his injury, and he also wanted better digestion. So stick around to the end of this video and I'll also give you a free bonus. So have you ever had a shoulder injury? I don't know about you, I've had my fair share, and I won't bore you with all the details, but I've literally torn my rotator cuffs 4 times, full thickness tears, and so I kind of have a feeling of what it's like. I know how it is when you're trying to sleep at night. You try laying on your side, the shoulder hurts. That side, the shoulder hurts. You lay on your back, the shoulder hurts. You can't lay on your stomach because you can't breathe. And so it becomes a challenging condition. So we had a client of ours, age 56, and he came into the office and he said, look, my shoulder is just wrecked. It hurts all the time. I've had all these treatments on it. Nothing seems to help. You guys do some novel therapies with regenerative medicine and with peptides. Is there something that would help me? And as he met with Dr. Steinle, she's a phenomenal regenerative medicine specialist. If you guys are ever afraid of getting injections, I can tell you Dr. Steinle has this distraction technique and you don't even feel it. You know, people leave the office already feeling better, out of pain, and they say, I didn't even feel the injection. It was so smooth. And so I have her do all my injections and it's phenomenal. So he met with Dr. Steinle. And what she said is, look, you've been active, you have really good training routine, you're working out 3 times a week, but this injury with your shoulder is pretty severe. He had a 4-centimeter thickness rotator cuff tear. And she said, the only way we can get on top of this is we first have to clean out the damage of the shoulder. And in the image, you could see where he had some arthritis. You could see some osteophytes built up or some bone spurs. And so she said, we first have to clean up the area before we'd ever do any regenerative medicine. And so to clean up the area, what we're going to do is get you on higher doses of vitamin D3 and vitamin K2, the M7. So that actually there's a protocol to help dissolve some of the bone spurs. She also said, what I'm going to do is a treatment called alpha-2 macroglobulin, or A2M. So those of you who are looking to get out of pain, this is really important because what alpha-2 macroglobulin does is we take out your blood and then we run it through a centrifuge, and then we've got to heat it up and cool it down. And then there's proteins called alpha-2 macroglobulins that we pull out of your blood, and then we inject it into the area that's damaged. And it's like Pac-Man eating up the proteases that drive the arthritic response. If you don't clean it up, you're not going to get as good of results. And so the very first thing, like any good farmer does, is we till the soil. You know, we maybe plow the field or fertilize the field before we plant the seeds. And that's exactly what Dr. Steinle was doing. And on the peptide side, she worked with the functional medicine team, and we put together a peptide protocol with BPC and TB-500 in it. And this patient had digestive issues. We did liver detox on him. He also had a lot of inflammation. And so we were aiming to get not just his shoulder healthy, but the whole body healthy, because we knew with regenerative medicine, if you can get your whole body healing, your body will do so much better. And so after the first alpha-2 macroglobulin treatment, he came back in and had ozone therapy in the shoulder. We did shockwave treatments on him. And at the same time, he was doing thymosin beta-4 and BPC. And we had him inject it into the areas of the shoulder that were painful. And at first, he was a little intimidated by it. We showed him the little tiny needle and we said, look, it doesn't have to be selected, but if you can inject into the place where you've got the injury, that's when your body can really start to heal quicker. And so after 30 days of doing the therapy, he scheduled for his regenerative medicine, which took place the next week. And when Dr. Steinle went to examine his shoulder, she found that his range of motion had improved. She found with the ultrasound that the tissue actually looked better. And she found that his pain levels had already reduced by about 40%. And so he was optimistic. And the treatment was deployed, and once again, he was another one of the happy clients that as he was leaving, he's like, Regan, thank you, because I thought that was going to be so much more painful. And his wife, Carol, was like, that was amazing. Thank you so much for the work that Dr. Steinle did on us today. And I said, well, don't thank me yet because we don't know what's happened. I just encouraged him. I'm like, stay on the peptide protocol. He also at the time was put on a peptide called ACE-031. And ACE-031, it's a weekly injection, but what the research shows is it helps increase muscle mass by working on the follistatin pathway. So it's a myostatin inhibitor, which means it turns off the brakes for muscle building. So he was able to regain a lot of strength, a lot of muscle. He said, I'm squatting more than I ever had, and it's only been 60 days in the program. He noticed his legs were improving, his back. He wasn't doing a lot for his upper body because he had to let the shoulder heal, but he was optimistic. He noticed he was sleeping better. He could, move slightly onto his shoulder without causing that excruciating pain. And what we found is just 2 months later, he came back into the office after he had the regenerative medicine, and what Dr. Steinle injected was this umbilical cord stem cells, and they come from mothers who have not been vaccinated. This comes from an FDA facility where everything is quarantined before it can be released. The mother's health is tested, the father's health, any kind of communicable diseases are ruled out. What we found in doing over 25,000 patients with the perinatal tissue is that we have about a 90% success rate in the first 90 days. Success meaning patients have improved range of motion, improved functionality, and a decrease in pain of over 50%. And then we have a 95% success rate past the 6-month mark. So some injuries take longer to heal, but in his case, when we saw him just 2 months later, he had better range of motion, his strength had increased, and he also had no pain. He was sleeping through the night and felt amazing. And then we sent him back in for an MRI, and the follow-up MRI showed a dramatic healing. Not only did the arthritis in the shoulder look as if it was in a decrease, but we also found that some of the osteophytes weren't quite as jagged. And so his shoulder now, it's 6 months after the procedure, he's got full strength back, he's got full range of motion, and he's actually gained some because of these peptide structures. So there's two things that happen when you use thymosin beta-4 and BPC. Number one, the BPC-157 creates angiogenesis, better nitric oxide production, so you have more vasodilation. It flushes out the pro-inflammatory cytokines. Thymosin beta-4 keeps his own stem cells activated because it helps work in conjunction with the regenerative medicine. So for those of you who are suffering from pain and would love to have an alternative, go to agelessfuture.com and download my book, The Peptide Blueprint, and I'll show you the way that you can not only radically change the way that your body feels and moves, but I'll show you peptides for your brain and then show you how functional medicine and peptides work hand in hand in this whole healing process. And this is what our patient learned. He learned that healing a rotator cuff couldn't be done alone with just BPC-157 and TB-500. He realized that it was part of an overall treatment plan. And a lot of people, they just lean in on peptides and think that peptides are going to be the end-all solution. But peptides are just one of the tools. There's so many great tools in medicine right now, like the regenerative medicine, like the functional medicine, and by deploying those together, that's where I believe you get a better benefit. And some of you may be young enough where it may not be necessary, but for most of us, as we have a few more decades in our life, we want to accelerate the healing much better, and by combining those, you'll notice a magnified approach will make multiple in your differences. So for those of you who love this, check out my video on potential side effects of TB-500 and BPC-157 because you'll want to know about those. And I'm Regan Archibald, and I'll see you in the next video.